Broadcasting live from University House, this is Shock Radio. Proudly sponsored by Jack and Jones, the Trafford Centre.
Welcome to this very impromptu show, 3 Years Remembered. I'm Matthew Green here with Joe Lander. Hi, Joe.
Hello.
I'm here with James Crompton as well.
Hello.
And over the next hour, the three of us will take a look back on the past 3 years that we've had at Shock as we bid to say goodbye to the station as we welcome the end of our degrees, thank God.
Yeah, we'll also be joined by some of our friends who have been on the Shock journey with us, and we'll have a look at how much this station has had on all of our lives. But we're going to start with a song that's very fitting for this show.
Our last official show on Shock. I know a few of us might have done a last show already, but this is the last show for the three of us on Shock. So this show is going to be a sort of reflection amongst the three of us about how the first year, second year, and our final year of Shock has been.
Well, yeah, it's a very different shock to when we first joined.
Just to say the least, anyway. I know me and Joe have been sort of here since day one. Joe, I know you were very much like me. You had pretty much signed up to Shock before you'd even set foot in the building. Actually, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm the longest serving committee member.
That's here we go.
Yeah, well, from day one, I was signed on.
I'm the shortest in this room.
The shortest? Well,
both in length of yeah. I've only been here for 2 years.
So I forget you didn't join in first year.
No,
why?
I didn't know it existed. I mean,
that's the thing with the same with Grace though, who's in the corner there. Grace said that she didn't know that Shock was a thing until her second year. So
I am surprised about that.
Just doing terrible. But
I don't understand this because we're in university. In case you don't know where Shock is or that we even exist, we're in University House. We're on the 3rd floor. If you're leaving Atmosphere, surely. Does everyone have tunnel vision?
You do now, thanks to the massive signs that say Shock Radio and Shock TV.
Well, that was there in first year, but I just never been in this building. I'd never been to the SU in first year.
Really?
And now he's never left it.
I might have been once or twice maybe, but yeah. Now it is University Home instead of University House.
Oh, taking a quote there from Francis Massey. But yeah, Joe, first time joining Shock, what was it all about for you?
Well, for me, so I said this at the Shock Awards, but when I first joined Shock, I was very big. Well, university in general, I was very big on. I'm going to host a Radio 1 breakfast show. That's what I'm going to do. And yeah, my who I am and all of that has just changed massively since then. To the point that I actually did all of the kind of archiving and finding all the clips that we got today. And we've got our first links coming up in a second. And honestly, when I listened, I died when I listened to that. My girlfriend was sat next to me at the time, and she I've never heard that woman laugh so loudly. She went, "Oh my God, is that what you used to sound like on the radio?" And I was like, yes.
Well, this is what Joe sounded like for the very first time on Shock Radio. He did a show with Adele.
Yes.
Who's our social
Salford,
media.
was
it Good Morning Salford?
I thought it was called Jelly FM, but that was just like our nickname for each
other.
other.
That was the brand, guys. That was the brand.
That was our nickname for each other. So I was there searching Jelly FM, and I was like, why is it not coming up? It was called Good Morning Salford, was what the show was called. It was our breakfast show, Saturday breakfast times.
And this is how it began.
Good morning, Salford. I'm Joe.
And I'm Adele.
And welcome to the breakfast show. Let's have some sex, shall we, Adele?
Yeah, boy.
Right, that's
just starting off solid.
And that Joe Lander is that, ladies and gentlemen, is Joe Lander in 9 seconds.
I was going to say, such a Joe Lander link there, summarised.
See, that's the thing. I've done radio since I was like 12, and I thought, because I'd done Coast, I thought I was coming in like, I'm the biggest presenter on Shock. Everyone's gonna love me. My first link's gonna be amazing. And I did. I actually messed up the second half of it. Have you got the second half?
I don't have the second half.
Have you not?
It was about 10 minutes long, is what you said.
Well, the second half of it, I double click it, so I accidentally play a song, and I'm like, oh God, what's going on? And I stop it. And the funny thing is, later on, we'll play the first Up For It link as well. And I do the same thing again 6 months later. So
I mean, that might be down to the presenter, but it also might be down to the technology in these studios, which we have all come to know and love.
Yeah.
My first link was again, I thought I was a bit like, coming in as students.
Yeah, because we've both done radio before.
We've done radio before. I'm like, there we go. But listening back to it now, I like to think I don't sound like this anymore.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Matthew Green and I am with you here on Shock for the next hour for mid-morning music. And yes, I know, mid-morning music is the title, but it is the afternoon. I look at this as the unofficial breakfast show because, let's face it, as a student, you're probably only getting up around now. I've plenty of music coming up for you this hour. We have Ed Sheeran, we have the new one from Dua Lipa and Elton John, and we have an absolute cracker of a song to start us off. They're so good, I don't even think I need to introduce them, because they are an iconic band with an iconic frontman.
Right, can I just...
Is that the one we're playing next?
Yes. Do you know why my top of hour was so long there? And I don't know, James, you probably don't remember this because you weren't here at the time. We kind of rebranded it then. But anyone who was around when we were in first year as well doing Shock, the top of hour was somewhat locked, if I remember, and you had to talk over all of it.
Can we throw back to that top of the hour though? That was a class.
Then we'd have to talk for it.
Oh yeah, we'd have to talk. And then we'd talk for about 5 minutes. Did you hear me fader wanking in it as well, like moving it up and down, going like, oh yeah, look there I go there, getting the vocal into the mix.
That's what they do on the radio. That's what they do on the radio.
Like that.
Yeah, I just love how I love the old stuff. Listening back onto it now because
Shock Retro coming soon as a pop-up station.
We put a lot of time and effort into the sound of the station now, and the sound of the station is a lot cleaner and a lot smoother, mainly down to the head of technical and production. Congratulations, award winning. Yeah,
well, thank you very much.
But the old sound, it's really to listen to because it's very obviously done by some company that just does generic.
It's like a royalty-free bed. Royalty-free imaging,
and they would just cranked up to the max.
Some bloke in his. Was it male, female? Some man just sat in the bedroom. I can imagine just like talking into his computer.
Yeah, it's the vocal processing. I mean, we've listened back to previous university examples they give us at uni, and it's like you listen to something, it's like just show a bit of vocal, processing on the voices or anything like that.
It's just someone doing a really
unless
deep
it's the
voice.
social media reel.
This is the radio.
Unless it's the social media reel. Not everything needs to be vocally processed.
Yeah, we'll have a word about that later. James, you joined in your second year. You told us that you were a late comer. You did 2 shows, if I remember rightly. You did your show on your own and you didn't produce?
Well, I was a late bloomer. I was the opposite to Joe, where I came to uni and wanted to do TV, and then did it in first year and thought, I want to do radio. And I keep saying this to Matt, and he says he doesn't remember. But when in first year, after our first assessment, we went for a drink, and you said, "Oh, you should join Shock Radio." I was like, "Oh, go on then." probably wanting 60 quid off me.
There you go.
But then I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I produced for Adam, who I'd never met before, who hopefully we'll have on in a bit, who said he wanted his show to be like Chris Moyles.
It was very. If you listen back to when we played the clip in a second, you can vouch. It was very Chris Moyles-y, yeah.
It's maybe not quite Chris Moyles.
I think the reason I put the two of you together is you're from Rochdale-ish area, aren't you? And he's from Bury, so I'm literally their neighbours. I'll stick them together.
We were both born in the same hospital. So, the same hospital that has a community radio station, hospital radio station in.
It's meant to be then. Would you like to have your first link?
Could have been.
It could have been if we'd done it that early, yeah.
Funny archiving thing. Here's your first link with Adam Clark.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Kickstart your day the Shock Radio way. It's time for Shock Student Breakfast.
It certainly is. On this Wednesday morning, a very good morning to you. Actually on time this week. And not soaking wet. So that's a good start. You with myself, Adam Clark. We've got producer James in as well. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad yourself?
Not too bad. Drier today.
We're trying to. It sounds like you're trying to be more northern than you are in that. Like, I'm drier.
I don't know. Maybe it's just when I'm with Adam. It's like I become more northern.
Well, we're going to relive some other bits and pieces later in the show, from sort of throwbacks to how the station sounded in first year, and also some other bits and bobs that you and Adam got up to, and
can't wait.
What mark you have made on that.
If you're linking into this song, this is the first song that you ever linked into on Shock. I think you need to replicate that.
It was one of the first, and I remember, and the reason I've thrown it on is because it was played non-stop here on Shock Radio when I was here in first year. Every second song with it. It's Elton John, Dua Lipa, Cold Heart. Right, there is context to this. Joe was here as well when this context will make sense.
I can't listen to this song anymore because of this.
It is very distressing. It's Doja Cat Woman, and Joe, why is it infamous with us?
Well, because I'm not familiar particularly with the technical reason of what happened, but the server essentially sort of broke when we were fixing last summer, and
It wasn't even then. It was in first year, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. I remember we were doing some repairs.
Unheard of. Unheard of.
I remember we were doing some repairs or something, but basically Zeta sort of half crashed, but we couldn't fix it.
Only half.
And for about a day and a half, Shock Radio was looping Woman by Doja Cat over and over and over again. And we were all going,
Well, luckily we have an expert on women in the studio, Francis Massabé. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Why'd you say it like you're in school?
Because I am Mr. Massabé.
Morning, Mr.
I'm going to move the microphone because there's a lot of people.
Yeah, we're joined by a couple of friends here on the show. People we've been through Shock with, have made good memories with. Ben Tabner here as well. Matt Mitchell, Archie
Ben
McWat.
Tabner, that's questionable as to whether it's good memories.
Just read that. I wouldn't have that if I were you, Ben.
Fighting back.
I'll offer you out.
Oh, lovely. So
Are you up for it, Joe?
Hey, puns galore. So myself, Joe, and Ben, we were all involved in first year. But Francis, Archie, Matt, you only came along in the second year. Why so late?
The third year.
But well.
Archie's a
I remember
newcomer.
Archie McWat doing 3 shows in one day.
Oh,
£16 membership.
No.
He's caught it up.
You need to look out there at someone that needs to pay membership.
Carl Paxton.
Papa McDonald, she won at the Britpop Brits the Adam Clark Special Recognition Award for Best Non-Paying Member of Shock Radio. And I think she's been about, I don't know, how many shows, James?
Yeah.
No, she's a guest, isn't she? So it's fine.
That's it.
We've got some funny moments. There's a long list of them.
Moving swiftly on. One thing ye didn't have by only joining in second and third year was an advert. An advert that became drilled in people's minds. And that was
Greg
for Koppenberg.
Tonight, you'll meet up with your best mates.
Hey, I missed you.
Or some new mates.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Or someone who might be more than a mate.
Hey.
You'll head off to that new bar.
I think it's called Ladybird.
Or that old pub.
Hello, you lot.
You'll order a cider. Yeah, I'll have the Copperberg, please. Or something new.
Copperberg makes vodka.
You'll earn a new nickname.
All right, Bubbles.
You'll hear a new song.
Oh, what a tune.
You'll become a new legend.
To Greg.
Whatever you do, make those nights at uni something to remember. Copperberg. To first, that last. Drink aware for the fact. Please drink responsibly.
And then the SU banned any alcohol sponsorship, which is brilliant. So it was ingrilled in our brains. Everyone we used to go Bubbles and Greg's and all of that. Yeah. And luckily, thanks to our good friends at Greg's, they put one in Media City, and they filled the Greg's hole in our life.
You're welcome.
Anything free for us today, James?
No.
Sad. Anyone got a pigeon? Right. So.
My bird.
Throw it in.
Memories, I'm sure, were made in many different ways for all of us here at Shock. This man over here, Francis Massabé, again, he's the centre of attention lately. Not only did he dance around the place half naked this year, fully naked, not twice, for benefits of members. Francis, what did you get up to at Christmas time last year?
I'm being double mic'd here. Christmas last year, I was put on a Ferris wheel, and I don't know what happened, to be honest. I think I need someone to remind me what happened.
Oh my god, Matthew! I miss you! I love you, Matthew! I love you too, Francis.
Could we give a shout out to the guy who often gets forgotten in that memory? There was a guy who sat next to him who gets forgotten all the time.
I know. Someone had to try and keep this show together. He was just screaming the whole way around for 8 minutes.
You're the one who wanted to go on that Ferris wheel. I didn't want to go on it. You were petting reindeers.
Well, we didn't do that.
Keeping it together is a very
Well, it's a loose term, but someone has to try and talk. But it was really sweet and quite wholesome.
Do you remember?
Wholesome? Yeah, he said he loved me on the radio.
He was scared.
Several times.
Do you remember how long you were on that for?
It felt like 20 minutes.
It was only 6 minutes.
If you look back on the footage, it looks like it's going quite fast.
I feel like once he heard you scream, the man who was operating it, he kept it going for longer than everyone else.
Well, you know what this is.
Who's going to go faster? Yeah, he's probably making it go faster.
Okay, let's go.
Francis looked at the man with plea in his eyes to get off that Ferris wheel, and it just didn't happen.
The man they were operating was like, "This is going to make great publicity for my business."
That's why we was asked back next year.
That's the first day I met you,
for
Matt.
Shock as well, because that won some big awards. Francis doing that. So Shock did better, I'd say, from that.
It did indeed. Other great memories as well from myself, James and Joe. Mainly Joe here, because Joe, you've had more than one show on Shock, haven't you?
I've had quite a few. But I do have a confession to make, actually. I've had more shows than people would think.
What?
There was something going on. I don't know. Everyone's a huge fan of late night Shock, aren't you? You're always listening, late at night.
Non-stop Shock.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, on Saturday evenings last year, everyone obviously was listening to the show. Like, there was the secret DJ, right? That guy who would go and do a mix every week. And he never revealed who he was. It was me.
No.
Hello, you're listening to The Secret Mix here on Shock Radio. I'm Beardo Weirdo, and I'm in here with the secret DJ. He's wearing his pyjamas as per usual, because he does this show pretty late. But we're going to be here giving you all the bangers from across music. So here, first up, here's some Robin Schultz. We miss you.
Right, the levels on that. I think our friend Matt McGetchick might have a word or two to say about that.
I was trying to mix it at the same time, and that was when my mate Peter came to visit, so I told him to say he was called Beardo Weirdo.
A Cornish voice on Shock Radio. Who else could it possibly be? Well, I also got up to some mischief as well. Myself and Adele. We did some stuff on air.
This is actually your first show of unofficial flatmates as well. I forgot to mention to you, Emily was sick that week, so this is your first unofficial flatmates show, but you had Adele on it instead.
Oh, brilliant. Welcome back to the big sister station as well.
Thank you. I know, back on Shock.
I know. So you're on Shock Extra now. You also have a new show, new name.
I know, I do. I'm on Shock Extra with Tunes and Tangents.
Tunes and Tangents.
Tunes and Tangents.
I have to try and not do that with like an Irish accent. Tunes and Tangents.
Oh, can you do like a English accent?
Can I do like an English accent, like Tunes and Tunes and Tangent.
I love how you go Essex.
I don't know, that's like my go-to. It's either
Go-to.
Essex or London, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, say my dad's from Croydon, innit? Like,
Can you do Brummy?
I suppose I could really do it. You just have to sound a bit like,
So basically.
Yeah, so basically, you just have to sound a bit down about everything.
You're good. You do well.
That is well, didn't it?
offended half the world there.
Got a shadow in there.
Francis, can you do any accents?
No.
Let's not. I say we really don't.
Why are you playing?
No, I can do a South African accent.
You can only say South Africa. With a vague South African accent. That's it.
Are we going to get cancelled on our final show?
No.
Did you do Rosie?
No.
Moving swiftly on.
That's not an accent.
Right, and anyway, then Joe Lander, again, the many faces of him.
Different show.
Also started something called this.
Hi, I'm Jake. I'm the voice in your head. My two friends are f***ing mental and try a different society each week for the shits and giggles. Courtney and Joe, are you up for it?
Oh yes, we certainly are!
I mean, in terms of ideas, it was a really good idea to
It
go
wasn't
around.
my idea. I've said this all along. It never was my idea. It was Courtney's idea, and she came up to me and said, "Do you want to do the show with me?" I said, "Yeah, sure."
But it was brilliant.
I should point that out because everyone's like, "Oh, you got such a great idea, Joe." I've never once taken credit for Up For It. Up For It has always been Courtney's idea.
Well, this is the moment it was born.
Hello. Oh, sorry. It's because you moved. It's because you moved from the home
Oh, I wanted to be in front of the camera. You know how much I love the attention.
Oh, sorry. Hello and welcome to the Up For It show. How are
Hello.
you? The bed ran out. I need to make a longer bed, I think.
That's fine. It's cool. People love the sound of our voices.
Yeah, I know. We'll be back right after Sigalo would come here for your love. Try and make it nice and smooth. What the
What are you doing?
I think I might have double pressed play next.
Oh, guys.
Oh, no.
It's episode 1. We're 30 seconds in. Technical issues. Straight
It's the weekend
away.
would take my breath. Oh, I'll fix that.
Right, okay, so I think it's safe to say.
I don't know why, but I adopted this weird voice when I was first with Courtney, and I was like, oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So everything she said, it was just...
I have that with Eva. I do a Leeds accent with Eva. I go,
why?
Hello. Now then.
I think it's safe to say. I mean, all of us
She's
have kind
very
of teamed
childlike.
up one way or another with different people, and we've made some great friends along the way. What Archie, Matt sat in the corner. You've been very quiet lately. What's friendship and sort of the community of Shock meant to you over the past 3 years, or 2 years you've been here, or 1 year you've been here?
It's a big question. I don't know. Well, I knew Matt and Francis before, obviously, from the course, from first year, and then they asked me to join their show, and then I made it better, and they won an award. So, you know,
modest.
I think the friendships and stuff I made at Shock was, first off, last year, me and Francis did a breakfast show, and no one was ever here in the morning. So I didn't meet anyone until we did the award shows or some other stuff like that, and I met a lot of good people and made a lot of good friends.
Yeah, I can vouch as someone who's done 3 breakfast shows on Shock. None of them, all of them different shows. No one is here in the mornings, ever.
You can turn up. The studio always used to break on Wednesday breakfast, and Matt Green was our exec, and we'd always call him
he just gave us the door code
9 because it's
We'd
broken.
see in the chat, he'd be like, yeah, I'll be in a minute.
I know. I mean, over the past 3 years, I mean, I should have spent more time in Shock, really, shouldn't I have? But hey, hindsight and all of that.
My favourite thing about listening back to the first year shows was how hungover you sound on all your shows. Because I mean, you enjoyed your first year.
To say the least. I mean, my first year. Do you ever? Actually, the rest of you probably feel this. Do you feel the first year was like yesterday?
Yes.
But also at the same time, like
a decade ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
A huge amount of growth has happened in all our technical ability. Physically,
And personally.
probably not as much because Francis.
No, we all
very
still look
short
the exact
man.
same.
5'4.5".
Well, I put on a lot of weight.
0.5.
Because I love eating sweets, boys.
Sure, from McDonald's afterwards.
Now we're talking. Yeah, if you insist. I mean,
so close.
McDonald's.
Faith Centre.
Dangerous.
Do you know what we could do? Yes, we could get it delivered. Hi, Adam. So McDonald's is only across the way. We've mentioned already. Shock is in University House. If we weren't going for pints in the SU or getting pizzas and burgers and all that, we were going over to Mackey's. Although some of us decided
non-spawn.
Yeah, non-spawn. However, some of us decided Mackey's was a little bit too far, so we had to get it delivered to the door of Shock.
And then when it inevitably wouldn't get delivered there,
up to the Faith Centre, you have to walk.
have to run around and basically do the same amount of distance as you do walk into McDonald's trying to find the delivery man.
The absolute thoughts. Right, we have a few more friends joining us very, very shortly. But Francis, part of, well, not even just Shock, but it's ended up on Shock somehow. You're being double muffed again.
How?
And how did this song come about?
So this is my audition for Horrible Histories. No, it isn't. Basically, I was asked to sing for, I think it was a radio studio project for Archie's group. I think Flora was in there, Matt McGettrick was in there too. And I had to become Guy Fawkes, really. But you can hear from this that I don't really sound anything like Guy Fawkes. So, yeah.
You don't look like him either.
Spoiler alert!
Yo, it's MC Fawkes on the track.
Explosive. That was Francis Massaby, who I think has just gone next door now. Are you there, lads?
I think they're still.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, he's there! Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
I can hear you.
Can we hear you?
We can hear. Yeah, you need to press the PFL button.
You need to press the PFL button, Francis.
On Studio One. On Studio One fader.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Right, this is everything information.
We'll let them work
I've
it
just
out.
been handed a cable.
So
plug it in.
Whilst things are working out. Whilst things are working out, we do have.
I'm always fiddling with cables on this station. Right.
Whilst one station manager or ex-station manager fiddles with cables, we have another ex-manager on the phone, Mr. Adam Clark. Hello.
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 I mean,
How are you doing?
It wouldn't be one last show for Matt Green if he wasn't fiddling with cables.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought actually, if you put the USB fader up whilst you're sorting this out, I thought, Adam, I thought I'd play for you a compilation that I made. If someone asked me what's my favourite moment from Shock, one of my peak moments has got to be Coconut Mall, recreating Coconut Mall. And I was listening back to your commentary, and I just wondered if you can spot a theme with your commentary here. Yeah, that's it.
Have you heard of the metric system?
Yeah. Have you just looped the same clip? Because that could be a Joe Lander editing trick.
No, that is. I promise you, that is 7 clips of you in one race saying he's looking to gain some yards. And you can catch that all back. You can catch that all back on Shock TV.
There's the plug. There we go. 38 minutes in, and there's the plug for Shock TV. But actually, Joe and Adam, you were of course here as well when all this Shock TV nonsense started kicking off. Joe, what happened with? Because of course we heard earlier as well, Shock Extra used to be the second radio station. That was a bit dodgy, but we moved over from that. We got rid of that. We made it a TV thing, and then Shock TV was born.
Yeah. So we had. That you've just told me it. What else do you want to say?
Well, how?
Well, so what
why?
it was so we had Shock Extra was our second radio station, and then we had a YouTube channel that was called Shock Radio, and it had like 4-5 videos on it, if that. And so I was like, there's real estate here, boys. So I was like, oh well. We had a meeting and we said we're going to get rid of the more illegal radio, the second radio station.
More illegal, implying they both possibly are.
Might have been illegal. And then I was like, well, there's a name here, there's a brand here, Shock Extra. Let's put that on the TV side. And then when we sort of started to make this TV station, we went to NASTA as an affiliated station of Shock Extra, but everyone kept calling us Shock TV because every other station had TV behind it, and so we were like, well, why not just call it Shock TV? And then that spawned a big rebrand over the last summer of trying to make it the Shock Network and everything, and then we're here today.
I know, Adam, you're a big radio guy like I am, but how did you feel about that at the time? Let's be honest here, we're all friends at this open table.
I mean, I don't know. I think it was. It's one of them things that you don't say no to Joe about. And I think I'll remind Joe of his speech on Thursday night, which was, Joe, what did you say when you walked through the door at Salford for the first time?
Oh, do you want to walk through yeah, and then I went and chatted to Adele and Matt, and I said, oh, yeah, God, why do we have to do TV? I hate TV. If there was a way that I could just not do TV, that would be ideal.
And look at him now. See, I'll be honest, I was a bit scared at first. I'm like, oh dear. But you know, now as we're leaving, we've handed the baton over to the next chapter of the Shock history books. That it looks solid. It's a solid brand, both radio and TV, and I think both tie very well hand in hand, and people are aware now. I mean, visualization of radio has become a massive thing in recent years, and I think creating its own sort of platform, as we wave to the cameras, as you know, creating its own sort of platform has just sort of helped sort of promote the brand, but in a different way, in a different market overall.
Yeah, I don't think we wouldn't have the visualization of the studio if it wasn't for Shock Extra and Shock TV.
Well, I also think that Shock TV and Shock Extra and everything all just it came at the right time, at the right place at the right time, sort of thing. The journalism department happened to be chucking out a ton of cameras that we needed. They were going to be the most expensive thing that we needed to buy, and then everything happened to fall in place at the right time, really. So I think that's what I kind of attribute it to.
Callum Paxton's also joining us in the studio now as well.
Deputy Head of Sport, Callum Paxton.
Callum and Adam, you've had a fair interesting collaboration over the past sort of year or two, haven't you? Callum, explain more about that.
This was visual storytelling, uni project. that me and Joe know very much about.
Yeah.
I basically bullied Adam and James to take part in my film, really, and I was very glad that they both said yes. And then famous things happened, and it was one of my favourite things I've ever edited together.
What are you playing at every single time?
And of course, it ended up on the
We
radio
did have
like
to
that.
buy a new desk, actually.
We did actually.
Adam.
Look at that, Adam. Have you got the lottery numbers for like next year? That would be amazing. Thank you very much.
Well, I think. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say. I was remembering back to that, and there wasn't actually a script. Can you admit that, Callum?
There wasn't a script.
I don't know if you said that in your essay when you had to do a write up on it, but there wasn't a script. So me and Adam improvised
most of it. Yeah.
Well, no, all of it. I think. Yeah.
No.
Either that or Callum wrote the script based on what we said.
Yeah. He transcribed it from our acting.
Yeah, it was sort of like in the moment. Like I had a plan, like a storyboard of what I wanted. Everything else was just basically Adam and James just being good friends and knew what I wanted as well. And
the best bit of that is when James sniffs
at the end,
even though I'm dead. Yeah. Or maybe that's part of it.
Maybe it's a twist.
It's a twist. Am I dead?
Next time.
Am I dead?
And Callum, you've also featured with Adam on air on Shock, in a case where James has been present as well.
Yeah.
He says he reckons it was Ben. He says you do laugh right at the end over the.
Well, I think it's good. It's good happy vibes.
What say your woman? It was that.
I think I fixed it.
I think what makes this.
Wait. Paxton. I'm going. I can't do this anymore.
Obviously, you can't. Obviously, you can't swear.
Microphones now. Might be past 10:05.
Loves a little bit of a time check there at the end. Just moving on, 5%.
I think that was so he could find the clip. That probably wasn't Adam. So you could.
See, obviously you can't swear on air now. But what was it that you said?
I can't say it.
It reminds me of ducks, and it starts with the same letter the fire starts with.
Basically, there was probably in the studio that James.
So Callum was sending voice notes in to me, and obviously because we were live on air, I was transcribing them through the what at the time was the brand new Snapchat transcription thing where it says what the message is. So I went on it and it said, "So say yours." So I thought, what does he mean by that? And I thought, well, it must be safe, surely. So say yours, and then played it out, and then it was for
that
safe,
word.
James.
Hold on. This is a good advice for you, James.
2 seconds later, he goes, "Don't play that." Cheers.
Well, what you should do is not play it straight away and check it beforehand.
Well, it was a lesson. It was a lesson learned.
These are things that we can bring to Roach Valley Radio.
Exactly. But I tell you one thing, just talking about lessons learned, I do think, we'll kind of discuss this in the final section of the show, but I do think sort of like that was a perfect example of student radio because, you know, the timing of you, Adam, on the desk with the sound of it, the tambourine that anyone who's been in Shock is aware of that tambourine, that makes an appearance in it, and everything just timed out well. And it goes to show that sometimes the most unplanned experiences are the best experiences.
Look at the Mafia style film.
Need to say anymore.
Every single time.
Right, okay, we're going to move on to something that also featured big time this year, and that was Joe, 25 years of Shock.
It was award-winning 25 years of Shock.
Yeah, so debatable 25 years of Shock. We were joined by an alumni the other day called...
No, he's verified that it's 25 years since the society was founded.
But then he said we're 22 on air.
Yeah, but it's 25 years since the society was founded. It's 25 years of Shock, not 25 years of Shock being on air. Because if you count the amount of times we've been down, we've probably been down like 5 years of Shock. That's probably all it is.
It's fine. Once we leave next year, trust me, they'll find out that we're 50 years old.
For it since 98, the soundtrack to our life.
The Shock Song by Tom Turner on Shock Radio.
This is Shock.
Huge thanks to Tom once again for doing the song. Also, a huge thanks for the fact that Up For It's the only show to feature twice.
We're not featured once.
and it's Shock Television and Radio.
Always coming second, isn't it, Adam? Yes, indeed. Right,
He's having his dinner.
Must be directed around.
Oh, dear.
A nice curry, I reckon.
Chicken tikka masala.
Right, guys. We're nearly at the end of the show. 10 minutes left. And Alfie Mulcahy on the way shortly. Both in terms of management and in terms of the radio show. So, favourite moments of the past 3 years. We have to probably whittle them down to one. There's probably too many to choose from. Francis, I'm going to start with you. The back corner of the room.
Capstick Hill.
Callum was going to say that one. You've stolen it.
Callum, why are you laughing so much? What happened to Capstick Hill?
I'm not saying. You tell the story.
I'm not familiar with this, so.
I have to say it now.
Head of woman.
Ms. Capstick, head of podcasting, fell down a hill at Exeter. And let's just say assets fell out.
Not her microphone. Anyway, Matt Mitchell, do you have anything as well to add?
I'd just say this.
Not to Captain Hill.
I'd say the SRA events were very good. I enjoyed Exeter a lot. London was good. Leeds was a lot of fun. And met lots of different people, a lot of different unis doing all the same things we like doing.
It goes to show that we're not as sad as we all think we are.
Yeah, there's a lot of
other sad people as well.
There's a lot of nerdy people like us who do the same thing.
Archie, you've been here for a year officially, about a year and a half unofficially.
I think one moment that I enjoyed is actually about Evie as well. Is when Evie got cancelled in the group chat for being a bit mean about the Winter Wonderland people, and Joe put in the group chat saying, "You are still live outside," and Evie got very embarrassed, and we hid away.
Oh,
yeah. The SU came up to us and said, they do realise their microphones, like they're still the speakers are still on.
Was this the show Drive Time Disco?
Yeah, it was then after, and she went, "Oh, I think it was a bit naff, really. It weren't very good." So, speakers are still on, guys.
Great promotion for an event. Joe, we're with you. Go on, what's yours?
Oh God!
Without mentioning the words T and V.
Oh no! Well, I was going to say, I love how we manifested the Triple Crown this year. Can we just say that? We manifested it. We said, "Oh, what?"
Sorry. No, hang on a second. Surely you mean the quadrupled crown?
Was that supposed to fire something?
Yes, that bed. Alfie Mulcahy, your touchscreens are broken. So the quadruple crown, technically.
Yeah, because of the SU awards as well. So yeah, there we go.
There we go. Happy days. That's Joe's. James Crompton, over to you. Is it to do with what's to my left of me over here?
Oh, it's not the turntable. No, I have two. Oh, I'll say the notion, just because I feel like someone else will say my other favourite memory. It be the BBC panel in an awards show. Like another uni had the BBC panel as their training initiative, and the Notion beat that and got a silver, and that wasn't even shortlisted. And it won the Britpop Brit.
Hey. Sorry. Callum Paxton. Oh, sorry, you're not finished?
I was just going to say, I just wanted to prove that the Notion is better than Industry Insight.
Solid. Callum Paxton.
Varsity this year, 2024 Varsity was a great event, brilliant event from all of us. So yeah, perfect. That's my favourite memory.
All three varsities were good. Being at home was my favourite personally.
Oh, it wasn't for me. It was very stressful. Being in charge of that was very stressful.
Definitely the last one was good. I think each varsity got better, so 2024 perfect.
I just liked in the 24 one how Adam had, both Adam and Kira had those earpieces in. But Adam looked like a bit of a bouncer because he had his Castro on, and he
also had the mic. He had the mic on the lapel.
Kira, bring the tape, Kira.
Victor Echo 196. We're having issues here with audio feed. Over.
We've only got 2 minutes left. So
Ben Tapno, go.
I would have to say the charity match with Utter Radio earlier this year. I got sent off. I don't know where the footage went. I don't know who was meant to edit that or where it was meant to go out. Or the risk assessment. Or I think there was meant to be a table there, but I don't know where that went to. But I would have to say getting sent off by Cameron Paxson, my number one.
Highlight.
Great moment.
I'll keep it quick before handing over to Adam to have the final word.
What?
Mine, I'd
Adam
say
gets the final word.
It's because I can turn the mics off and everyone in the room can hear. Right. My favourite memory would have to probably be dismantling the studio for the very first time and the second time before Alfie and Alex had to go at the third time. I've had so much fun kind of having the chance to experiment with different technologies and different ways of doing things, and of course working with many great people and having some good memories, because let's be honest, I hope at least 2 of us in this room will stay in touch over the rest of our lives.
Before Adam says his thing, do we get to say goodbye or?
No, we'll let Adam say his thing first. Right. Adam, go.
Right. I don't know. It's a difficult one. Mafia style film, Varsity. To be fair, I think the trips to Maxwell that me and Matt Green had over those 2 summer upgrades was probably up there. But no, I think I agree with what Matt said there. From what we've been all able to do over the last 3 years at Shock is just been perfect.
Oh, brilliant. And not forgetting the B&Q trolley pushing that when we had
last summer. That Maxwell time was the one where you nearly got arrested because they thought you were in the IRA. So we'll have to do another show and explain that.
We'll have to do a podcast with Evie.
Rockstar Radio.
There we go. Right, well, look, that's the end of our 3 years remembered show. It's also the end of all our time as Shock now. This is actually it. Walk out the door, don't look back again. There's a song in that somewhere. But
I've got one last thing I want to say from my point of view. If you're a big fan of Salford Weekly, this is the last thing I'd want to say. Is I've been Joe Lander. Ta-ta.
Okay. Lovely. Right, to finish off the show for the final time, it's a bit of Wolf Alice. This is Bros on Shock Radio. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.